Hello, welcome back, and thank you as always for tuning in here. We're going to continue a conversation that we really have all the time, but one that has been prevalent over the last few days, and that is the theme of your own power and coming to appreciate who and what you are. I mean, really deeply appreciating it, allowing yourself the opportunity to consider it for starters, and then allowing yourself further opportunity to consider it, and allowing yourself yet again an opportunity to take it to heart and put it into practice, and to allow the truth of who and what you are, allow truth itself to be just as it is, accepting it, knowing what you are, and accepting your own inheritance. Just that, nothing less. There is nothing less. So let's talk about perfect oneness, shall we? Now, understand, of course, that this can be known, not talked about ultimately. The experience of our perfect oneness, knowing God, is beyond language. It's beyond all of our worldly concepts and conventions. It's beyond our very powerful and broad social media channels, such as YouTube. It's beyond everything that we've invented here in the world. But how do we know God? Well, first of all, we must clarify our perception. Perception is the realm of duality, where we believe that everything is outside us. It involves a subject, which we often refer to as me. I am the subject, me, myself, and I. First person pronouns. Yeah. The individual, subject, and objects, which appear outside of us. It's a subject and an object, a perceiver and the perceived, the sensed and the perceived. All perception involves this split of subject and object, perceiver and perceived. So, why is that relevant? Well, that's not our reality. It's what passes for our reality here in the world, where we think that we're individuals. But who we are is beyond all perception. We simply know God, and deep down we all do. Yet we've thrown a veil over our eyes, in a manner of speaking. This is what I've found in my time practicing A Course in Miracles. I've found this visual analogy probably the most helpful for me. You can see it many ways. We've cast a shroud over our vision, and what we see is not reality. We don't see things as they are. We don't perceive things as they are. So this course is about learning to perceive things as they are. And it's not, by the way, just A Course in Miracles. This is spirituality in general, whether a particular tradition says so in so many words or not. It's about setting aside the ego. It's about lifting the veil so that we may know truth. It's about accepting truth just as it is. See, when our perception is completely clarified, when we see things as they really are, that is when truth dawns of itself. That is known by many, many names in world spirituality, enlightenment. I mean, full enlightenment, awakening, full awakening, realizing God, knowing God, things like that. Those are all just terms that point at what can only be known, i.e., experienced. So until our perception is 100% clarified, we will experience the frustration of, well, suffering, pain, letdowns and heartache, sadness, anger, rage, depression, and fear. So, what I'd like to talk about over the next few minutes here is a passage, a particular passage that really struck me from the text of A Course in Miracles. So, in this series of videos, we're into chapter 12 of the text. One of the things that I'm continually called to do is read the text, finish it, go back to page one. There's a lesson in that. Yeah. Think you got through it once and you're done? Right. So the other day, just a couple of days ago, I was reading a passage in chapter 3 of the text, which is section 6, that I want to spend some particular time talking about today. Because it really hit me. It was one of those days that we have on the path where things just seem to come together, where the breadth and the depth and the magnitude of an idea finally begins to click for you. And it could be decades down the line from where you first started. I mean, we can look at the same material again and again. And each time we do it, we understand more. And it's not the material that has changed. We have changed. We have changed. The material is exactly the same. It still says the exact same thing that it did 10 years ago when I first picked up this book. And for you, that may have been even a longer time than that. I know that many of you have been students of the course for 30 years or more, 40 maybe even for some of you. And perhaps you're looking at this thinking, well, I have never picked this up in my life, but I was led to this video. No, there's a reason why. No matter where you find yourself, you're here for a reason. So I always cordially invite you to stick around, you know. I want to talk about willing and wishing today. Two verbs and two ideas that are wildly different. One is powerful, the other is not at all. Here in the world, we say, okay, I wish that. I wish that I had $1 million in unmarked bills, cold hard cash sitting right next to me, waiting for immediate deposit into my bank account. Or I wish that I were 20 or 30 kilos thinner, right? I wish that I had a better job. I wish it were sunny. It's raining. Actually, it's sunny here. I'm in Arizona, where it's usually sunny. I wish this, I wish that. No. And we all do that. It's part of the way we operate here in the world. So let's train our awareness on what this is really saying. It means I lack, doesn't it? I lack this, so I wish I had it. I'm without. I'm poor, as I wish I had this. I mean, even if we're just saying it in a joking, half-hearted manner, nevertheless, what's really going on here is that's not seeing things as they really are. Here in the world, we may not have $1 million cash piled up right next to us, ready for immediate deposit and tax-free, of course. We may not have that at our ready disposal here in the world, but the frame of mind, the mind state, if you will, is what's important here. Wishing comes from a sense of lack, which is from the sense of separation. We think we're separate from God. We think we lack the peace of God, which we don't because it's what we are, but we think we're without. That's wishing. So, will is a completely different story. Willing is a completely different story. Now, the word will in the English language, of course, has multiple meanings. So let's explain what we are and are not talking about here. So we are not talking about the noun will at all, as in a legal will, a last will and testament. I hereby leave my children $27.15 and my old rusty pickup truck, that kind of will, where one bequeaths something to someone, money, property, whatever it may be. Not that will. That's a noun. And well, A Course in Miracles is not concerned with that at all. What it's concerned with is using will as a verb. Now, there is a substantive that goes right along with that will, as in the will of God. So, will is also a verb. I will. God wills. There is a profound and marked difference between will and wish. First of all, an idea that runs throughout A Course in Miracles is that God's will and your will are the same. They're not similar, they're the same. One and the same. One. Now, why would this even be? Only God is. All else is illusion. Even this, all of it. That's also a theme that runs throughout A Course in Miracles. And well, if you're hearing it for the first time, welcome. I invite you to tune in again next time and the time after that and subscribe. And the time, thank you. And the time after that and the time after that, all of that. It's a recurring theme. This is not what we're taught growing up. It's not what we're taught in school. And if you were, fantastic. I was not, not even. And most of us are not. So we learn this as adults. And as adult learners, of course, we all have this nice little stubborn streak, which has been conditioned into us as well, which we do well to recognize and learn to listen to these ideas over and over again, because the 1342nd time that you hear God is may be the day where the light comes on. And wouldn't that be worth listening to it 1,341 times prior? That wouldn't even matter. And it won't. But we don't know when that day will be. So we show up. Yeah. God's will and yours are the same. So at the end of this chapter 3, section 6 in the text, I mean, at the very tail end, Jesus tells us something very, very powerful, which I hope you contemplate and take to heart, because it speaks to our real power, who we are. To say, I will the kingdom of heaven, is exactly the same as saying, I know what I am and I accept my inheritance. I will there be light. I will the kingdom of heaven. I will the peace of God. I know what I am and I accept my inheritance. Again, I know what I am and I accept my inheritance. Big difference between willing and wishing. I will the kingdom of heaven. I am the kingdom of heaven. That's what it's saying. Yeah. Not, I wish that I were, because that implies that I'm not. It implies a separation and a lack. So, in this conversation, in this sense, the choice of words, even though words are merely symbols, matters. Here in the world where choice seems like something we need, and well, and it is when we don't perceive truly, we choose true perception instead of false perception. We choose the Holy Spirit instead of the ego. We choose light instead of dark, truth instead of illusion. You get what we're saying there. We choose this moment to moment, and it's very powerful to say, I will the kingdom of heaven. I will the peace of God. I will there be light. Translation, I know what I am and I accept my own inheritance. I accept who I am, just as God created me. One equals one after all. All right. This is a very real way, in a practical sense, to do what we say we call owning it in the world, allowing truth to be just as it is, accepting your real power. This is about who you are. It's about what you are and your true power. I mean, really, your true power. You may choose to contemplate this, which I invite you to do, and think about it and take it to heart and show up in the world willing, not wishing, but willing the peace of God, the kingdom of heaven, light. This means, in a very practical sense, showing up and owning it, so to speak. There's no property or things to own because there's no separate thing, but you know what we're saying here. It means stepping up with confidence and clarity and certainty and inviting your brother to see his own true power His own true power is yours. It's your own. There is only perfect oneness. So it's a very powerful way to go about life. So, to the extent that you're curious and inspired to try it, great. I invite you to do just that. I mean, the reality is that we don't value ourselves enough. Our job title is not who we are. Our diplomas and degrees are not who we are, if we have those. Our bicep strength is not who we are. Our bank account's not who we are. Our prestige and social status, if we have any at all, that's not who we are. You know who you are. Yeah, go there, please. You know. We all do. Let's accept truth just as it is. All right. So, as always, questions are more than welcome here. The spiritual path in general is one of deep and profound self-inquiry, and you deserve nothing less than that. So, to the extent that questions come up for you, please feel welcome to leave them here. And comments are also most welcome here on YouTube. If you want to stop in and say hello, please do that. We'd love to hear from you. And if you've not yet subscribed, here is the prompt. Again, it's that arrow in the corner of your screen. When you click that, when you hover over that, you'll be invited to subscribe and join us. And thank you to all of you who have recently done so. There have been a number of you. This is a growing community. It is international, and it is focused on A Course in Miracles. So whether you're a longtime student or just beginning, or whether you've not yet even begun this course, yet somehow the Holy Spirit sent this video link to you on YouTube and you're watching, there's a reason why, right? There's something for everyone here. What exactly that is, I don't know, but you know when you hear it, and that is your inner teacher, the Holy Spirit, speaking to you. You would do very well indeed to listen and then take his advice and act on it. All right. We'll see you soon.